In the summer of 2002, paramedics and then police were called to the scene of a strange car accident near Trout, Louisiana.
And Trinity Church.
Please support this channel by subscribing and leaving comments.
Really and truly, there's stuff in these woods and nobody knows what it is.
If it wanted to hurt me, it could have hurt me. It could have got me.
Something sneezed and sneezed real loud. It's louder than a man could sneeze.
I do believe that they exist because there's too much happening.
Don't really know what they are.
Whatever it was down duck walking.
The dogs started barking. It went back in the woods.
We got so close one night we could almost hear something breathing.
He said there's a gorilla-looking something come up to him.
Had two big old black eyes, real hairy.
But it wasn't no human track.
The next morning we went down there and he tore the door off his deer stand.
In the summer of 2002, paramedics and then police were called to the scene of a strange car accident near Trout, Louisiana.
And Trinity Church Road, timeout 2230.
10-4 engine 30 copy, we're en route.
A car reportedly hit a man in a fur coat. The caller was concerned because the man ran off into the woods.
So when they hollered at him, it took off running.
And I looked in the ditches and everywhere.
They chased this thing for about 3 hours.
It just left. It looked like a big old hairy thing.
Tracking dogs and police searched the swampy area, but could not find any trace of the strange pedestrian. Some believe this was no man, but rather an encounter with the legendary Louisiana Swamp Creature. Hundreds of locals claim to have seen this large hairy animal, which walks upright like a man. But its most interesting feature is its footprint, four-toed. Can the Encounters team solve this mystery? Or will the man in a fur coat stay hidden forever? Cryptozoologist by profession and driven by her own mysterious encounter, Autumn Williams travels the world.
Thousands of people can't have seen something that doesn't exist. All we need is proof.
Sometimes at dawn, or the edge of dusk, there's a fleeting glimpse of an impossible sight.
Do you have it?
Get it. I see it.
Michael!
What's the range?
The sightings are real. The technology, cutting edge. Are you ready for mysterious encounters?
I heard that.
God, this is freaky down here.
God, this is so spooky.
Oh, it's freaky.
Yeah, did you respond to a call you just did? Then we just got a call back. Jay just did a couple of whoops and we got a call back.
Wait.
What was that?
I've seen this on the tape.
The Louisiana Bayou is a treacherous place. Alligators, copperhead snakes, water moccasins, and packs of wild boars roam these black-watered reaches. Some claim that even stranger creatures lurk here.
All my life, you know. And whenever I was small, you know, I'd go all over this swamp hunting myself, you know, and wasn't scared of nothing. But here lately, after I've seen and heard all of this, I'm kind of leery of going out, you know.
It is these stories that bring the Encounters team to Louisiana. Autumn Williams is a nationally known cryptozoologist and field researcher, a specialist in the search for as yet undiscovered species.
Monsters are my life. For over 13 years, I've compiled thousands of reports of unknown creatures. My job is to collect the evidence, and if they exist, to attempt to document my own face-to-face encounter. seem?
Kind of looks like blood. I'm not quite sure.
It's a little brown.
Autumn and her team of researchers have come to this remote area of Louisiana to investigate several different eyewitness accounts. Former pastor Ed Hatfield and his family claim to have had numerous encounters with these creatures over a period of several years.
That thing screamed out, just, you know, just a screaming sound.
So often in rural areas where there are frequent sightings, the presence of these creatures becomes almost common knowledge. It's something that everyone seems to know about, but no one really discusses.
Thing like that. I know the day that my brother had seen when they come back from hunting, they was pretty scared. I knew they had seen something.
It scared me and my friend. Man, we was just white as sheets. But if we shoot at it, we'd just make it mad. We sat there about 10 more minutes and watched it.
That can be a challenge when an outsider like me comes in and starts asking questions.
Really happy.
Nice to meet you. So tell me a little bit about what's happening out here.
Well, we've heard and seen all kinds of things out here, you know.
It takes the locals a while to realize that I will take them seriously, that their stories are amazingly similar to those of people all across the country.
They're sitting there and a deer hunting, and a few minutes they seen something squat down, you know, just come waddling over the hill like a duck, you know.
One of the most compelling encounters occurred in the summer of 2002, when some believe a swamp creature was hit by a car.
Pedestrian hit by a vehicle near the intersection of Highway 28 and Trinity Church Road, timeout 2230.
10-430 copy, we're en route.
Man, I was going down the highway, something just hit my truck.
When Mysterious Encounters continues.
Let him up. Let him up. If I'd have had a gun, I wouldn't have shot it. Why not? It's too damn big.
And it stood about this high. It stood about 6.5, 7 foot tall.
Look at how long this is, though. I mean, that's a good, what, just shy of maybe 20 inches?
The Encounters team is near the Cotton Island National Forest, a remote area of Louisiana, about 100 miles southeast of Shreveport. Mostly low swamp area, this is home to many nasty creatures.
Some claim that even stranger creatures lurk here.
I saw 2 6 to 10 foot tall, 2-legged bipedal creatures climb up out of an 8-foot embankment and stand in the campground.
Terrible screams and a foul stench are also reported. And there's more.
They found foot tracks, so the area that we have chosen is a pretty good area.
That's a good spot.
Be careful. Somebody's been here barefooted.
Is there any other area besides this one that you think would be a place where there's always a lot of animal tracks, or where it looks like a lot of animals go to drink?
Probably along that break, down on that other road there before we turned off.
Is that a long, skinny track with toes? I have a pretty strict criteria for what constitutes a track, and this thing is just a single track, and you know, we could look at it this way and say maybe it's a track, but it has to be where it couldn't possibly be anything else. I mean, it's not like there's a lot of detail there to get anyway,
right.
So.
Other footprints found at the Hatfield residence are not so easily explained away. Local investigator Scott Kessler brings the team casts of footprints made near a recent sighting.
It's a big clop of mud right there.
But yeah, this is interesting right here, like a scrape.
Yeah, it's got a nice little ridge too.
Yeah, that's weird. It's amazing how long the toes are in there.
And it's got some long toes.
And I mean, there's so much definition between them right here.
That one there were 16 tracks.
Really?
Hard packed underneath some soft mud. That would be why it would look flat like this.
The footprint casts Scott brought us are intriguing, especially in light of the 4 toes. But are they authentic? I can't wait to see what our anatomy experts have to say about them, and hopefully get a chance to see what made them.
The Hatfield family is not the first and only alleged witness to this creature.
I didn't say that to nobody. I was scared.
A fisherman and longtime outdoorsman claims his own sighting of the Louisiana Swamp Creature.
This happened. Thomas was holding a hog under his arm. That's the first time I've seen something like that. I fished this damn place for 15 years. I got halfway out there, about chest deep of water. I went to throw my pole. When I did, just the corner of my eye caught something. Whatever that was got out in that water, and I never did hear it. And when I did see him, he saw me. I know at the same damn time I stood there looking at him. Had two big old black eyes, real hair. I'm talking about hair all over. It was a pretty good size truck, whatever. Well, now I got to backing up then, watching it. And that's something, whatever it was, I started backing up too. It scared me so damn bad, my heart was...
While some eyewitnesses are certain of what they've seen, others aren't so sure.
Have a reported pedestrian hit by a vehicle.
Got there, found one vehicle on the side of the road. Obvious damage to the front driver's quarter panel. The mirror was all busted. He claimed that gentleman he assumed was wearing a large fur coat run out in front of him.
Man, I was going down the highway and something hit my truck.
How fast were you going?
I was going about 55, 60.
It's odd for somebody to be struck by a vehicle to get up and run away, especially being struck at a high rate of speed.
I looked around the truck, I looked in front of my truck, and it was just gone.
We couldn't find anybody. The chase team were called out and they tracked something. They don't know what it was. And they tracked it for quite a long ways. It was fast enough to stay ahead of the hound to a local swamp, and that's where they lost the trail. It crossed my mind that it could be that Louisiana Swamp man that everybody had claimed to be seeing.
While the eyewitness may have been unsure of what he hit, whatever it was, the car suffered extensive damage. Yet the strange pedestrian was able to run away. If the Encounters team is to have any chance of solving this mystery, they must find new evidence.
This should be tilted slightly that way.
Elevation 52.5. We're fortunate to have all this high-tech equipment. These swamps are very dangerous, and the remote surveillance equipment reduces some of that risk. But to find evidence, we still have to deploy this technology, and that means going deep into the swamp.
The Encounters team will be deploying DNA traps, equipped with a very small barb. These traps scrape off tiny pieces of tissue or hair from passing creatures. The trap is also baited with sexual pheromone chips, primate scent.
Oh, that's nasty.
Designed to bring the swamp creature in close.
Pheromone chip is deployed, and we're on the way back.
Their goal is to collect DNA evidence.
There's a little blood right there.
Evidence that can substantiate or refute eyewitness claims that the Louisiana Swamp Creature is a living, breathing species, and not merely the stuff of nightmares.
These have been used in the past with encouraging results. Coupled with DNA traps set out below the chips, we hope to use an infrared camera to record the historic moment.
Oh, we're live. Good deal.
Camera position's good. Dump the bait there. That's it. Come on back.
Getting around the swamp can be dangerous. Recent wild pig attacks have the crew nervous.
I almost stepped on also on a rattler the first day we got here. I just hope they don't bite above the knee.
An infrared camera-equipped ATV mule should provide safe travel to and from the deployment sites.
Anywhere we go, it'll see where we're going. And if anything comes out in front of us, we'll have a camera constantly rolling. We'll drive by camera in total darkness.
But much work will still need to be done on foot.
We'll set traps, we're gonna do some DNA, and we're gonna hang some cameras in some trees and see what we can get.
The team also plans to penetrate the swamp using a thermal imaging camera. So sensitive it can detect temperature differences within a fraction of a degree. This camera will reveal any large, warm-blooded creature hidden nearby.
Don't move your feet, I want to get really good audio.
With the trap set, they may have already recorded something significant.
see what's on the tape, and then come back and check it again.
Whoa, 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 whoa. I just barely caught it in the headlight.
Look at the trail.
No, whatever it was, moved through here. I swear. I've been listening to two sets of noises. Something's moving up from over here, and something moving in from over here.
Don't shine your light. You don't need to.
Dad,
come on.
Get the out of here.
For decades, sightings of strange 6 to 8 foot tall creatures have been reported in central Louisiana. The Encounters team has set up base camp near the Hatfield residence, scene of several of these sightings, deploying an array of surveillance tools designed to collect evidence. Evidence that either supports or refutes the legend of a strange elusive animal the locals call the Louisiana Swamp Creature.
First off, I've seen them. That's the biggest factor.
There was an awful smell. I've never smelled anything like that.
When it came out of the water, it let out a whoa.
It made about 3 jumps, and that was across the road.
When it came up to the top, it was on all fours, but then stood up.
And it was standing upright. I could tell it wasn't a bear.
I know they're real, and I've talked to other people that know they're real.
I got out and looked for tracks, but I couldn't see none in that gravel road.
Seeing's believing.
The technology we have at our disposal is a researcher's dream come true. The infrared camera traps, the thermal imaging camera, the DNA traps, the pheromone bait chips. These are tools that few investigators have access to, and certainly not all at once.
Sightings of the Louisiana Swamp Creature often occur in areas not accessible by land. Autumn and team member Scott Kessler set out by boat with the night-piercing micron thermal imaging camera in an attempt to survey the furthest reaches of the Louisiana swamp. Meanwhile, team members Smitty and Jay head into the night in the Mule.
I'm not afraid. Well, maybe just a little.
Hoping to videotape their own encounter. They must be aware of the dangers. The swamp is filled with poisonous snakes, feral pigs, and alligators. But animals are not the only things that attack. With the DNA and camera traps set, the team turns to audio calls to hopefully bring a creature closer.
Many swamp creature witnesses describe hearing loud screams, which they claim are not attributable to any known animal.
See, I'm hearing 2.
We were too far away from the camp or the away team, and the timing was wrong for the return calls I heard to be explained. The calls were similar to those we'd heard earlier. Were these the calls of the swamp creature, or some other known animal? Did you hear it again?
Back at camp, Autumn and Scott prepare the night vision equipment for a back road trip.
We're getting ready for night mode.
Many sightings have occurred along these small rural roads.
So nice. It's like having X-ray vision.
The thermal camera seems to be working perfectly, like X-ray vision. But the team doesn't see any wildlife. Until now.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
After Louisiana footprint cast,
I've come to the following determination.
Autumn and the Encounters crew are in Louisiana investigating eyewitness accounts of a mysterious biped called the Louisiana Swamp Creature. Witnesses claim to have seen a large, hairy animal which walks upright like a man, but has only 4 toes. The Encounters team recorded hundreds of hours of video from thermal and infrared motion-activated cameras and set out baited DNA traps in an attempt to collect new evidence to either support or disprove the mystery. After painstakingly reviewing all of the surveillance tapes, team members concluded every encounter scene was with an identifiable animal native to this forest. No sign of the Louisiana Swamp Creature on these images. But what about the footprint cast supplied by local investigator Scott Kessler, cast at the location of a recent sighting? Can this evidence provide some answers? Dr. Jeff Meldrum is an expert anatomist at the University of Idaho.
There are some aspects that immediately struck me as odd. For example, the toes are only 4 in number, although they are evenly spaced across the foot, with no apparent pathology or deformity to account for the absence of the 5th toe. You can see that it's very narrow. It's over 14.5 inches long, but the heel is a mere 3.5 inches across. It's very, very flat in its aspect, with a very simple beveled edge all the way around. The only depth to the footprint can be found here at the distal ends of the toes. And it appears to me as if an artificial flat foot was driven in at the final moments of the step. All in all, I'd have to say that this does not appear to be made by an animate foot of a living animal. Rather, it appears to be some sort of contrived hoax.
We did manage to record possible vocalization. Is the strange creature so many people claim to have seen simply a type of North American ape? Or is it just the stuff of nightmares? You be the judge. I believe there's more to this story. Someday, maybe someone will come forward with proof. In the meantime, the Encounters team and the Bounder are off to investigate yet another unknown animal.
If you're enjoying all this rare and unique content, please show your support by subscribing and leaving comments.